faith.
Okay, one thing, brother.
The Catholic faith,
What my
there's a
Christian
unity
priest
of
friend didn't tell you, after all the judgment Jesus has done, do you know what's going to happen?
No.
He's going to hand everything back to God, so that God can be God of. He's going to hand over everything back to the Holy Spirit or to the Father?
No, to the Father.
Right. So listen.
That is not.
What's going to happen? You know that after all the judgment is done, everything is going to be handed back to the Holy Spirit or to the Father. So the Father can be the, what can he be? The ultimate God.
فتعالى الله الملك الحق ولا تعجل بالقرآن من قبل أن يقضى إليك وحيه وقل رب زدني علما.
If you were to study John's Gospel, Jesus doesn't make a claim that he is something like, as you said. When Thomas, this is the belief, this is a belief. This is a belief that you have taken by distorting the message of Jesus Christ from this. We know from studies done by your scholars, John was putting the words of his own self in the mouth of Jesus when he was writing his gospel. John's Jesus does not represent the historical Jesus and the statements that he uttered, because a lot of this are faith-driven. John believes Jesus said that, because if you go to the earlier gospels like Gospel of Mark or Gospel of Matthew, you will not find any of these statements at all. So the Christian scholars say John's gospel is not a synoptic gospel, it's a Gnostic gospel. And you as a priest, you deceive others but not telling that. Because you know in your studies, this is the reality from historical studies of, and let me finish, hang on. This is what Christian scholars have come to this consensus, that John's gospel is not what Jesus was saying historically. All these I am sayings and so on and so forth, you would not find like these statements in the other gospels. These are projected statements.
Can we just say which Christian scholars have said that in order to conservative
evangelical? Yeah.
Because this is something which is obviously.
He knows that as a priest. He should know that. He knows that as a priest.
Is it correct what he has said, that there are actually Christian scholars who are contending the meaning of these verses?
Well, to answer really briefly, no, they're not true Christian scholars.
They're not true Christian scholars because they disagree with it.
Because they are not true Christians.
Oh, really?
But they're scholars nevertheless.
The basis of Christianity.
That's it. So they're scholars of the Bible. Excuse me. This is not the sermon. This is a discussion. So if you don't like interruption, you might. Excuse me. If you don't like the discussion, then find another discussion. But the reality is, priests like yourself, unfortunately, deceive your own self and deceive others. That's what we're trying to understand. Why is that the case?
In support of him, and he's saying we don't. But the we, he's including these really un-Christian commentators on the gospel.
So you don't actually agree that these are actually Christian scholars? You're saying there are unbelievers or maybe of people of different faith. Do they claim to be Christian scholars?
Of course they do. They're conservative Christians who believe in that. Yeah, just disregard them because they don't agree with you. Interesting approach.
Heresy in the church.
Heresy.
Even the conservative ones.
So they're heretics. In his view, they're heretics.
No, I'm talking about even the conservative Christians. Yep. And yet they call them heretics because in this case they don't like it.
Well,
the issue is,
what do you do with a Muslim who denies the Muslim faith? Would you not call him a heretic?
These Christians are conservative. Do you know what that means? Are you saying
if a Muslim
If they deny the faith, they will be heretics. But I am talking about conservative Christians. Perhaps you don't understand what conservative Christian means.
But obviously,
Of course you don't understand what it means, perhaps.
A so-called Catholic who doesn't believe in the teaching of the church, or a so-called Christian who doesn't really believe in the gospel.
I just want to leave with one thing, because I have to go to prayer. The way Jesus prayed as well, right? Now, in the day of judgment, when God will ask every single one of you Christians, why did you worship my messenger, my servant, my slave Christ? And you said, no, I thought you were 3 in 1. I worship the Holy Spirit as well. I worship you and worship the Son. Make sure you have a justification handy, because in that day, no one can save you. I cannot save you. You cannot save yourself. Your priests, friends or colleagues, your family, your teachers cannot save you. I'm not finished. In that day, your family, your friends, no one can save you, because God will be just as He's all just every single moment. Because of His justice, those who insulted God by committing this blasphemy, by associating a partner with God, saying God has a son or a daughter or a mother or a wife or a niece, whatever, and you worship them besides God, the only place that God is going to put those people is hellfire, from which there will be no coming back. But if you repent, I'm not finished, if you repent and you come back to the worship of the God of Moses, God of Jesus, God of Abraham, God of Muhammad, peace be upon them all, and you sincerely uphold this belief, you will receive the mercy of God and go into paradise. But if you persist in worshipping a man or a messenger or a servant of God, hellfire, I have to tell you, my friend, is not a joke. This will be the one-way ticket. Save yourself from that.
I have to tell you what we
one substance. So they can be, they're all different bodies, but they're one substance. Oh dear, you're so ignorant.
Those who have not acknowledged Him, have not put their faith in Him, will be condemned, because that is what salvation depends upon. And all the negative things you say about Christians who do believe in Jesus' divinity, in fact those things really apply to those who deny His divinity. Well, that is the difference between us.
Yeah. So in the day of judgment, make sure you have a justification handy.
In the day of judgment, you are the ones who will be under the condemnation of God.
Okay, who will you see judging?
In our faith.
Will it be Jesus judging?
Who will be judging the day of judgment?
Well, yes, Jesus.
And where will the Father be? Redundant?
Jesus is the judge.
Where will the Father be? Redundant?
Well, in Jesus' teaching.
Yeah, so in the day of judgment, no, in heaven or in the day of judgment, Jesus is judging, and where is His Father? What is He doing? That's clearly one God, right? You see someone judging and another person doing what?
In the account of the last judgment, when the Son of Man comes in His glory and all the angels with Him, He will sit on His glorious throne. This is Jesus, the Son of Man. Before Him will be gathered all the nations, and He will separate one from the other, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And He will place the sheep on His right hand, but the goats on His left. And
what will the Lord be doing?
What will the Father be doing in your belief?
Well, the Father and the Son are united, but this judgment is given to the Son.
So he will be the judge.
Well, the spokesman.
And what will the Father be doing then?
Well, He is the judge.
He's not going to judge.
But the Father, no, God is.
The Son will judge.
No, they are united in the judgment.
No. Who is judging according to the text?
No, but you make a claim of believing.
What does the text say?
The Gospels.
Why do you misrepresent the text all the time?
I'm reading out the text.
Does it say Father will be judging?
It says the Son of Man will sit on His glorious.
And who will be judging?
Well, the Son of Man, but he will doing it on behalf of the Trinity, of course.
So he will be judging on behalf of the Trinity. So you have one God. Now let's understand now the crux of this discussion. You have one God who is sitting on the throne, and one God on his right hand side, and one God, the Holy Spirit, where?
On his left hand side.
Where is the Holy Spirit there? Yeah. The other God, number 3?
I'm sorry.
One God sitting on the throne.
You have the Trinity, yes.
No. One God sitting on the throne. Yes. Or half a God or a third God.
Well, if you want to be insulting,
I'm not insulting.
then you better go on being insulting.
It's a simple question.
We believe in
the
two
one,
persons in one God.
Okay, so the one who is sitting, is he God or one third God?
He is the one God in 3 persons.
No, the one who is sitting on the throne, is he one third God or one God?
He is one God in 3 persons.
So one God sitting on the throne, and one God standing on the right hand side. And one God, the Holy Spirit, hovering around. So you will see with your Christian eyes, one God.
Use insulting language.
That's not insulting language, that's the reality.
It is insulting language.
That's the belief that you are telling us.
It's just a bit confusing, so we just wanted some clarification. Since you are the priest, so he's asking quite a valid question there, sir.
So who is sitting? One God sitting or one person sitting?
Sure, I can appreciate that it may sound a little bit.
It's intentionally insulting language.
Sure. But will you be able to clarify it in a more clearer, language to us? Because the question really is, on the day, who is going to be making the judgment? If it is the Son of Man, and you're saying he's on the throne, so then the valid question then arises as to what will the Father be doing, and where will he be?
Well, they're united. They're one.
So the Father will appear in the form of Jesus.
It's one God.
Basically, is that
Can you ask him that again?
Yes. They're one God.
Yeah, but if there are one God,
no, one family of 3 gods. Clarify that. Not one God, one family of 3 gods.
Jesus is described as the Word. So in this vision that Jesus himself has at the Last Judgment, it fits in.
Christians really need to be sincere. There clearly is 3 gods, but they are one family. I have no problem in calling you one family of 3 God worshippers.
Well, the church has differing opinions, and there are differences amongst
the Catholic faith.
Okay, one thing, brother. What my Christian priest friend didn't tell you, after all the judgment Jesus has done, do you know what's going to happen?
No.
He's going to hand everything back to God, so that God can be God of. He's going to hand over everything back to the Holy Spirit or to the Father?
No, to the Father.
Right. So listen.
That is not.
What's going to happen? You know that after all the judgment is done, everything is going to be handed back to the Holy Spirit or to the Father. So the Father can be the, what can he be? The ultimate God, God of all. Now you realize who is the real God.
Well, the real God is the 3 persons in one God.
No, ultimately, everything is handed over back to who? No. Everything is handed over back to who? Back to who? The God of
the Son.
Everything. So now you realize the Father in your Trinitarian belief is the actual God.
In our language, to point to people if you're having a debate, that is something you can learn.
Oh, that's insulting.
Yeah, it's very insulting.
I apologize.
Well, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Please don't do it again.
Sure. So what I would like you to do, kindly, is to contemplate on this and say, look, if I died at this very minute, because I can die the next minute, you can die the next minute.
You said that.
No. I want you to contemplate. Look what you're doing. You're doing one hand, you're doing 4 hands like that. That's rude to me in my culture, perhaps.
Well, because
excuse me.
Trying to tell you
try to be consistent in your criticism. If you say this is rude, how about that?
Hold up a hand.
And also,
when hand.
That's not holding up. You are doing that. And excuse me, it's on the camera. Never mind.
It's a different thing from pointing.
My friend. I was saying that contemplate the consequences of worshipping other than God or besides God. That's why Prophet Muhammad ﷺ explained, whoever among the Jews and the Christians, people of the book, that they have heard Prophet Muhammad ﷺ about him and didn't accept him, Do you know where they're going to end up? Jahannam, the fire of Jahannam. This is not a joke with the fire of Jahannam, hellfire. So I want you to please save yourself from the fire. Accept Islam, the religion of Moses, the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the religion of Jesus, religion of Abraham. Please, accept and be saved.
Do you want to listen to my answer to that?
I'm just asking as a request. I didn't ask you a question. Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we believe in the last judgment.
Yeah.
And the judgment will be, did you believe in the Son I sent into the world?
No, I didn't.
And if you didn't, well then that will be your condemnation.
That's what you believe.
You believe in the... In other words, everything
Yeah.
turns on whether we believe in the divinity of Jesus or not.
Fine.
Sure.
And,
Okay, let's call it that then.
One thing
I stand...
we can point to in this...
I have to go and pray.
The whole of the Old Testament leading toward...
Okay.
We've heard your argument.
Okay.
Thank you
We
very
have to go to pray, but with no offense whatsoever intended. It was a heated discussion between yourself and myself for a reason, just so that we can really realize what we believe. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to go now.
From both sides.
But what I want to go, as I'm going, I stand side by side with Prophet Abraham. He didn't believe that God had a son either. So yes, if you condemn me, you condemn Prophet Abraham. Thank you.